framework being and to be introduced to attempt to contain, but the idea should be to understand as a whole. Excellent tactical move, Centurion. Applying a social constructivist epistemology to the subject of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, is a way to reduce discord between competing interpretations, scientific, governmental, and religious/spiritual, by treating them as constructed realities rather than mutually exclusive truth claims. Academic draft copy. If a social constructivist approach encourages multiple realities, it can ease tensions between science and religion, provided implementation remains practical, interdisciplinary, and dialogical. For example, applying this epistemology to unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, allows scientific, governmental, and religious perspectives to coexist as constructed realities, reducing conflict over competing interpretations. Applying a social constructivist epistemology to the study of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, provides a framework for reducing discord between scientific, religious, governmental, and cultural interpretations by treating each as a socially constructed reality rather than a competing claim to absolute truth. Within education, this means designing curricula and public seminars that present UAPs through multiple lenses, scientific explanations such as atmospheric physics and aerospace technology, alongside religious or spiritual interpretations that view sky phenomena as signs, messengers, or cosmological beings. In policy and governance, constructivism encourages governments to publish dual-framed reports that combine technical data with recognition of cultural and ethical significance, while advisory councils include scientists, indigenous knowledge holders, theologians, and experiencers to ensure plural voices are respected. Community-based research can integrate instrument-based observations with narrative accounts, creating participatory data cooperatives that honor both empirical and symbolic dimensions. Healthcare and psychological support systems can validate UAP encounters as meaningful experiences, whether interpreted as extraterrestrial contact or mystical vision, thereby reducing stigma. Meanwhile, media and arts programs can commission works that juxtapose radar schematics with cosmological symbols, reframing UAPs as liminal spaces between science and spirituality. Finally, research methods should adopt mixed protocols that combine quantitative detection pipelines with qualitative coding of narratives, maintaining epistemic humility by explicitly stating what is known, unknown, and unknowable. By embedding this constructivist playbook across education, policy, community, and culture, UAPs become not a battleground of competing truths but a site of interdisciplinary dialogue, ethical reflection, and collaborative meaning-making. Education and public literacy. Education and public literacy is a foundational domain for applying a social constructivist epistemology to the study of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. Traditional educational approaches often present scientific explanations as the sole legitimate framework, which can inadvertently dismiss or stigmatize religious, cultural, and experiential interpretations. A constructivist approach reframes education by recognizing that knowledge is context-dependent and socially situated, allowing multiple realities to coexist within the classroom and public discourse. Curricula should therefore integrate scientific perspectives, such as atmospheric physics, aerospace engineering, and perceptual psychology, with religious and cultural frameworks that interpret sky phenomena as signs, messengers, or cosmological beings. This pluralistic pedagogy fosters epistemic humility, teaching students not only how to evaluate empirical evidence, but also how to understand the social and symbolic dimensions of UAP narratives. Public literacy initiatives, such as community seminars and digital explainers, can further reinforce this approach by pairing scientists, theologians, and experiencers in dialogic formats that emphasize dialogue rather than debate. By embedding constructivist principles into education, UAPs are reframed as opportunities for interdisciplinary inquiry and ethical reflection, rather than as battlegrounds of competing truth claims. Ultimately, education informed by social constructivism equips citizens with the critical tools to navigate uncertainty, respect diverse interpretations, and engage responsibly in the broader societal conversation about UAPs. Policy and governance represents one of the most critical domains for applying a social constructivist epistemology to the study of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. Governments and institutions often face pressure to present UAPs as either strictly scientific anomalies or potential security threats, which risks marginalizing cultural, religious, and experiential interpretations. A constructivist approach reframes policy by acknowledging that UAPs are not only empirical data points, but also socially meaningful phenomena. This means publishing dual-framed reports that combine technical analyses, such as radar logs, sensor data, and aviation safety assessments, with recognition of the symbolic and ethical significance these phenomena hold for diverse communities. Advisory councils should be established that include scientists, indigenous knowledge holders, theologians, experiencers, and civil society advocates, ensuring that no single epistemic authority dominates the discourse. Ethical protocols must also be embedded into disclosure practices, requiring plural impact assessments that evaluate not only physical risks, but also social harms, such as stigmatization or epistemic exclusion. By adopting this constructivist framing, policy can move beyond reductionist binaries of science versus belief, and instead foster trust, transparency, and interdisciplinary collaboration. Ultimately, governance informed by social constructivism positions UAPs as a site of dialogue rather than conflict, enabling institutions to balance national security with cultural respect and epistemic humility. Community-based research offers a vital arena for applying social constructivist epistemology to the study of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, as it situates knowledge production within the lived experiences and cultural frameworks of local populations. Traditional approaches often privilege technical data collected by military or scientific institutions, which can marginalize or dismiss the symbolic and spiritual dimensions of UAP encounters. A constructivist framework instead emphasizes participatory research methods that integrate empirical observation with narrative meaning-making. This involves training citizen observers to collect standardized data, such as time, location, and environmental conditions, while also documenting personal interpretations, whether they are framed as extraterrestrial contact, spiritual visions, or cultural cosmologies. Indigenous and religious communities must be engaged through respectful protocols that honor data sovereignty and avoid extractive practices, ensuring that their cosmological interpretations are treated as legitimate contributions rather than curiosities. Such partnerships can generate hybrid knowledge systems where scientific and spiritual frameworks inform one another, particularly in areas like ecological ethics or stewardship of the skies. Moreover, community-based research should provide non-stigmatizing support structures for experiencers, such as peer groups or chaplaincy-style services, which validate encounters as meaningful events regardless of their empirical verifiability. By embedding constructivist principles into community research, UAPs are reframed as shared phenomena that invite collaboration across epistemic boundaries, reducing stigma and fostering trust between institutions and the public. Ultimately, this approach transforms UAPs from isolated anomalies into collective sites of inquiry, dialogue, and ethical reflection. Media, arts, and culture play a pivotal role in shaping public perception of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, often amplifying either skepticism or sensationalism. A social constructivist epistemology reframes this domain by emphasizing narrative plurality and cultural dialogue rather than binary truth claims. Media outlets, for example, should adopt style guides that avoid ridicule and sensational framing, instead presenting UAPs as phenomena open to multiple interpretations, scientific, religious, and experiential. Balanced reporting can pair technical analyses, such as radar or sensor data, with lived accounts and cultural narratives, thereby legitimizing diverse epistemic contributions. The arts provide another powerful avenue for constructivist engagement, as they can juxtapose scientific schematics with cosmological symbols, creating liminal spaces where science and spirituality coexist. Commissioned works, residencies, and curated exhibitions can invite audiences to reflect on UAPs as both empirical mysteries and cultural metaphors, fostering dialogue across epistemic boundaries. By embedding constructivist principles into media and artistic expression, UAPs are reframed from objects of ridicule or fear into catalysts for interdisciplinary imagination and ethical reflection. Ultimately, this approach transforms public discourse, encouraging citizens to see UAPs not as anomalies demanding closure, but as shared phenomena that invite humility, creativity, and plural meaning-making. Research methods and data standards are essential for grounding the study of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, within a social constructivist epistemology. Traditional scientific approaches often privilege quantitative data, such as radar readings, sensor logs, and aviation reports, while dismissing qualitative narratives as anecdotal or unreliable. A constructivist framework challenges this hierarchy by integrating both empirical and experiential accounts into a mixed methods approach. Quantitative detection pipelines should be complemented by qualitative coding of witness testimonies, cultural narratives, and religious interpretations, thereby acknowledging that UAPs are not only physical phenomena but also socially constructed realities. To maintain credibility, research must adopt standardized protocols for uncertainty reporting, explicitly stating what is known, unknown, and currently unknowable. This epistemic humility prevents premature closure and fosters trust across diverse communities. Furthermore, open infrastructure should be developed to provide tiered access to UAP data, with clear metadata regarding provenance, consent, and interpretive context. Such transparency allows for replication networks and adversarial collaborations, where competing explanations can be tested without privileging one epistemic authority over another. By embedding constructivist principles into research methods and data governance, UAP inquiry becomes both rigorous and pluralistic, enabling science, religion, and culture to coexist as legitimate contributors to knowledge production. Ultimately, this approach reframes UAPs as interdisciplinary sites of meaning-making, where methodological integration and ethical transparency are as important as empirical discovery. Implementation Roadmap provides the operational sequence for embedding social constructivist principles into UAP inquiry across education, policy, community, and culture. In the initial phase, 0 to 365 days, institutions should establish advisory councils that include scientists, indigenous leaders, theologians, experiencers, and civil society advocates, while simultaneously drafting disclosure protocols and piloting public seminars. These early steps set the foundation for transparency and pluralism. In the next phase, 90 to 180 days, community observatories can be launched to collect both empirical and narrative data, faculty workshops can train educators in constructivist pedagogy, and art science commissions can begin producing works that embody epistemic plurality. By 6 to 12 months, curricula should be scaled across universities and public institutions. Formal partnerships with indigenous and religious communities should be solidified through memoranda of understanding, and interdisciplinary symposiums should be hosted to showcase integrated findings. Ongoing governance requires quarterly ethics reviews, biannual public reports, and annual updates to the playbook, ensuring that the framework remains adaptive to new data, cultural shifts, and evolving public discourse. This phased roadmap ensures that constructivist principles are not abstract ideals, but operational practices embedded into institutional life. Conclusion underscores the transformative potential of applying social constructivist epistemology to the study of unidentified aerial phenomena. UAPs are not merely unexplained aerial objects but contested sites of meaning where science, religion, government, and culture negotiate reality. By embedding constructivist principles into education, policy, community research, media, and methodology, discord is reduced and collaboration is fostered. This framework reframes UAPs from anomalies demanding closure into opportunities for interdisciplinary dialogue, ethical reflection, and plural meaning-making. Crucially, constructivism insists on ontological humility, acknowledging the limits of current knowledge and resisting premature claims of certainty. Such humility allows multiple realities to coexist without collapsing into relativism, creating a space where empirical rigor and cultural respect reinforce one another. Ultimately, the constructivist playbook positions UAPs as catalysts for societal learning, inviting citizens, institutions, and scholars to engage responsibly with mystery, uncertainty, and the diverse ways humans construct meaning in the face of the unknown. Unknown.